Any of the versions that we've got are based on the edit that was done by Richard Marden, who was the original editor on the film, who's unfortunately left us, this human existence plane, who was a terrific editor from England, had done a lot of work with Stanley Donen, Bedazzled, Two for the Road, great editor. So for the record, I'll say that he was not happy with the new direction that it was going in, and I can understand that. He put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into his version, and so he decided not to continue on. I mean, originally when I came on, I was going to be working in concert with him, but it was certainly his prerogative, and I understand, you know, it's an uncomfortable situation. Honestly, and I just have to say it because I believe it to be true, that the film that I saw could have used a little extra work. Not necessarily as radical as we went. There's two different things going on there. But, you know, I understand, I'm on the side of the filmmaker, and certainly in Clive's case, he's a true author and a true auteur, and an artist that I respect. You know, so I'm glad we were working hand in glove. I mean, otherwise I don't think I could have done it, to be honest with you. But yes, of course, it's a compromise.
Never touched a legend before.
One picture led to another, and I got to do Piranha with Joe Dante. That made money. I got hired to do Humanoids from the Deep. Without Joe, it's a different kind of movie, but that made money too. And then Joe brought me back to do The Howling with him, so I owe a lot to Joe Dante, and things transpired, and then I got The Terminator through Gail Hurd, whom I knew, who introduced me to Jim Cameron, and on and on and on, and I got a lot of luck, a lot of luck, but some great pictures, you know. It really helps to work with great filmmakers, which brings me to Clive Barker, who I have always, I was a fan of before I was approached to come on to Nightbreed.
I'm dead. I'm the walking dead.
Are you gonna kill him or not? Only I want his balls. And his eyes. Unless, of course, you want them.
I think I'll pass.
Naturally, I had seen Hellraiser and Hellbound, and I really liked those movies. They were very original, extremely original, and extremely horrific in the sense that they really went for the jugular. No, nothing held back. These were horror movies in the extreme sense of the word, but beautifully done, really artistic. So I was a Clive Barker fan. So this was, so I'm told, well, they're looking to bring somebody in because they've got issues. The issues are that apparently the studio, they felt that they wanted more scares in the movie. They wanted more horrific moments. They felt it was too long, and that the audiences were losing interest here and there. I mean, that's what I got. But what I did also get was that Clive was in touch with them, obviously the studio, Morgan Creek, and was willing to make changes. I mean, I guess they made it a fait accompli. Whatever happens in these kinds of scenarios, to the degree where they were out looking for someone to come do this, to work with Clive. So this was not come in, take the film, and go away and recut it. This was, these are the points that we want to achieve, and they would be communicated to Clive. I never got a sheet of notes. And we would work together to do it.
We got visitors, boy.
Can I use your phone?
Yeah.
If the director has a vision, then you try to honor that vision. But you also try to do a lot of things for a director. You're helping them to find new ways to interpret the material. You're helping them to pull out some of the subtext that might be there that you can do through manipulation of image and sound that in ways that they may not have thought out. There's a magic to the process. There's an alchemy, I believe, to the process of making movies. Whether it's the gods on the set or the gods in the editing room, the unseen forces that come from your subconscious or your unconscious, and the directors, of course. And at its best, it's a glorious collaboration to get the thing to its optimal place. Now, that said, it's a corporate environment that makes a lot of these expensive movies, and the corporate environment is going to have things to say, and sometimes there'll be good things. Yes, sometimes they will be good things, or commercial things. Sometimes not so good, but you've got to try them. You have to understand, Clive created the piece. He wrote it. And he wrote it initially as a book called Cabal, which is a very complex book. There's a lot of moving parts in that. It's got a lot of mythology, it's got a lot of backstory, it's got a lot of subtext. Mythological subtext, psychological subtext. That's a lot of stuff to put into a movie. As it was, the version that I saw, I think it had to have been minimally in the 2-hour range or more, maybe more, but I don't remember. But I sometimes felt that the pace was, I mean, it could be improved. But I think what they were looking for was something more than improved. They really wanted a tighter film. They wanted it to have a more propulsive feel, I believe.
There's a shortcut near here. Where? Now!
Obviously, I made tight action movies because I had done Terminator, Rambo, and Commando, and that's something that I kind of specialized in, doing these action films, you know. I mean, Rambo, First Blood Part 2 is 90 minutes long. Now, I always, when I look at it, I think, this feels like a 2-hour, heavily produced epic. And no, it's 90 minutes. So there's no time to get bored in those pictures. I mean, Commando is probably in a similar running time. So that's the kind of stuff I was doing. Now, those were not horror films, and neither of those films had the extreme subtext and underlying psychological values of a piece like Cabal, which became Nightbreed. So the question was how to do what the studio wanted. They also wanted more horror, and they actually contrived, I guess, to get that done by having Clive write some new scenes. The John Agar character, who's the shopkeeper. The girl at the hotel, the receptionist, who gets murdered in a very classical slasher kind of way. There were not extensive reshoots, but there were reshoots. So, you know, basically I was trying to retain the basic through line of the piece and, be true to it, and working with Clive very intensely. But I had ideas of streamlining, and I had ideas of pacing. And that's basically what I brought to the table to get it down to a manageable length and to make it possibly more exciting. And very often I would just go off, with Clive's blessing and just try stuff and present it to him. And he'd say, I like that, that's good, I don't like that. And I'd say, but what about, and he'd say, I don't like that. But it was very respectful. It was collaborative, but I could tell, it was pretty obvious, he was not happy that he had to go through this process. This was a process that was imposed. So we were trying to make the best of a compromise situation. I remember one thing Clive said in talking about the released version of the movie. He said he definitely felt that my contribution was to make it more muscular. So that may mean, it's a little more heavy metal, I think, especially when the berserkers go crazy. And, basically it's got a pace to it. Now, looking at it the other day, I thought maybe the pace was a little too fast in some cases, even at the end, when the priest is reborn. You know, it just happened so fast. Like, what the hell was that? You know, but you listen. You know, Ridley Scott recuts his films all the time. Days of Heaven, there was a studio version, the director's cut. I just saw the Ridley Scott recut, 2003 recut of Alien that he did. I mean, Blade Runner, there's like 5 versions. You can choose your version. And I understand with this version that Clive is now doing a director's cut version that isn't the same thing as the Cabal cut that was shown earlier when they only had dupes and it was hard to watch.
He will come for us.
His name is Cabal.
The Cabal cut was most likely based on the longer version that had a temp dub that Morgan Creek had issues with. And obviously he was disappointed with what went out into the theaters and onto video, and now he wants to set the record straight and do his version. One of the things that I think about when I think of the release version of the picture is that the mythology, the subtext, and broader mythology of the world of Nightbreed is sometimes abbreviated and sometimes it only works on one level, which is to further the story, because basically we tried to make the narrative really move and move quickly. There's a lot more going on in the book, obviously. There was a lot more going on in the longer version of the picture. And so some of the things that I feel would be great to be enhanced. We have the cave paintings which show how the Nightbreed came to be. And there's a parallel with that, with the character of Boone, and how Boone came to be one of the Nightbreed, and how Boone ultimately is destined to become a great leader of the Nightbreed. See, Cabal, Boone becomes Cabal. Boone is a man or a creature of action. This is the way I see it. So there's a great epic story here because Boone is like the Messiah, kind of, and he's even, you know, evidenced in those cave paintings. So the whole thing about his destiny from human to turned to I don't know why I'm dead but I'm not, and to finding out what his true destiny is as the leader of the Nightbreed, and the person who protects Baphomet, the supreme being of the underworld, I guess the underworld. I find it tremendously fascinating. That's an epic canvas, and the metaphor is the cave painting. And you know, I'm hoping that this new version evidences some of that stuff because we took it out, and in hindsight, I miss it. I can tell you that not everything that one does is something that you look back on and think, oh, it was perfect, don't touch a frame. You know, practically anything I've ever done, I'd like to get in there and fix it again. But, you know, at the end of the day, they take it, they rip it away from you, and there it goes. And that's cinema.